What is up, everybody? So in today's video I will be showcasing every single sword in King's Legacy minus the Christmas Blade sword, because that was a limited sword and I didn't really play the game back then, so I never got that. But I do have every other sword in the game, so I'm gonna showcase them one by one. I'll just start from the top and work my way down. So first we have Yoru, or Nightblade as it's called in this game. Every sword in the game has two moves, so there won't be much diversity in that. But all the moves have been revamped, and they're all really cool now, in my opinion. So, the X move on Yoru, Omega Slash, large range and does pretty good damage. And then Speed Slash, which is a very long move. And this does a lot of damage if you're able to hit the whole thing. I think the most damage out of any sword move, if like the entire thing hits. Alright, now moving on to Pipe. Pipe is not very good, but you know, it's a pipe, so it's kind of sick. Alright, first move, Z Slasher. Pretty long move, but it has really short range. And then Earth Smash. It is okay range, but main downside is that it only works on the ground. So like, if I'm in the air, it'll attack on the ground, as I'll show you. Like this. Use the move, it still attacks on the ground. So that's not very useful in PvP. Then Triple Katana. This move, this was like revamped, and it's actually pretty good now. We have Triple Slash. If that had more speed, it'd be pretty good in PvP. And now 3 Sword Style Tempest. Pretty big tornado. Does a lot of slashes. That's a pretty good move. It does quite a bit of damage. And now Saber. Saber was actually nerfed with the revamp. It does a lot less damage now. But we have Dragon Roar, which will go to like where you're aiming at, or like the enemy you're aiming at. But in the air, it's pretty hard to hit. And then Holy Sword. Holy Sword used to do a ton of damage, but it was nerfed. Now it doesn't really do as much damage. I think it does like at least 50% less damage than it used to. So Saber's really not that good anymore. Now Tashi Blade, this is like a very early weapon. You get this from the boss right over there where my pointer is. Yeah, so this is a very, very early weapon in the game. We have Spinner. I mean, early game that's actually kind of useful. That's pretty good. And Slash. There's a little explosion where it hits. So this is decent when you first start. It's pretty good. And then Enma, or Hell Sword. This sword is very good. It's for PvP, I'd say this is second best or best, because in my opinion this is better than Yoru, and it's pretty equal to Authentic Triple Katana, but I think Authentic Triple Katana has the edge in PvP. We have our first move, Infernal Cut. A lot of range. You have to actually have pretty good aim, or you're not going to be landing that. But it is still pretty easy to land. And then X, Slash of Hell. Does a ton of slashes around you. It's a pretty powerful move. It's very good for breaking Ken, since it's pretty easy to hit. Now we have Animus Axe. This is one of the new swords with the update. This is one of 3 of the new swords. We have first move, Against God. It is a slam wherever you're aiming it. It doesn't really, like, you can't like aim it way over there and it'll do over there. It just does where, like, in front of you, a little bit in front of you. Or just go to where you're aiming. And then Guy's Justice is pretty good because it goes to wherever you're aiming and does like, makes like a circle and then does a big blast. And it will look in the air here, it has a ton of upward AoE, like it goes very high up into the sky. Look at that. So that's like the only good move on this in PvP, because if you're in the air, right, and your opponent's not really paying attention, you could probably hit them with that, but it's still pretty hard to hit just because there's so much time that it has to like actually activate and do the damage. It's like 3-4 seconds before it actually does the damage, so it's not that great. And now onto Authentic Triple Katana. This is the best of the new swords, and this is probably the best sword in the game at the moment. You get this from Sea Beasts, and it's pretty difficult to get. I mean, it took me 15 plus hours of farming Sea Beasts, but I was having pretty trash luck. It took me 50 plus Sea Beasts to actually get this sword, so it was not not very fun to get it, but it was definitely worth it because this is a very good sword. So this is actually very unique because the actual just normal slashes, it creates a tornado after 4 slashes. So that's really cool. That's the only sword that has an effect like this, and the tornado does pretty good damage. And now first move, Warlord Slash. It's not as fast as, let's say, the Hell Slash or the X move on Yoru, but it does do 17k damage, around 17k. So it's very powerful, it's a lot of damage, and this sword is more close range, because this doesn't actually have a whole lot of range, but it's still very good. And the main thing with this sword is you're going to be wanting to, like, combo with it, PvP, so you would, like, let's say use a move to get close to your opponent, like Concaser, this kick, and then you use that, and once you're, like, in their face, use that, and that will do a ton of damage. And that was the second move, Winding Blade, which does a ton of damage. This does 10 slashes that each do 2.45k, so it does 24.5k damage overall with just this one move, so it's insane. It's also very good for breaking Ken since it does 10 slashes. And then Warlord Slash does 17k-ish, around there, I'm pretty sure. So if you were to use both of these moves and they both landed, after the Ken was broken, it's just an insta-kill, basically. Like that, they're dead. So that's very powerful. And this is definitely my favorite sword in the game at the moment, cause it's just super cool. And then Adventure Knife, this is the third new sword. I think it's like the worst of the new swords for PvP, just because it has very, very little range, but for farming it's decent because it's pretty good damage. First move is Hunter Slash. It just does a ton of slashes forward. It has low range though. And then Burn Slash, which is a slash in front of you like that. I'll use the moves again here. I'm pretty sure though if you are using Flame Fruit, it does do more damage though. So that is the one good thing about it, because it's probably one of the best swords for farming if you are using Flame, because it will be doing a lot more damage. Well, I don't know if it's a lot more, but it'll be doing more. And then Pull also got a revamp. Well, almost every sword got a revamp, but Pull is one of the better revamps, because it was really bad before, but now it's kind of good. Not really like when you're higher level, but when you like are at the level of getting this, it's quite good, because it is decent damage for the level you'd be getting this, and the moves are pretty nice, and they look cool. Like, look at this animation when you are just like holding it down, and that sliding bolt down. It's pretty sick. It is alright damage. It's not a lot, but it's pretty good. Now Mini Mace, Mini Mace isn't really that great. It has Smash and Thunderbeat. Thunderbeat goes to where you're aiming, so it's kind of decent, but it's not really something you'll ever be using unless you're early game using it to grind. Now on to Basento. I'm just gonna show these moves again first. Now on to Basento. Basento's pretty nice now. It's actually pretty powerful, especially if you're using Quake. This will be doing quite a bit of damage. We have Quake Ball, which is a slam, and then Quake Smack, which sends a projectile forward. And these do pretty good damage. This is one of the better swords, especially after this revamp. This is very powerful. Like, this used to suck, but now it's actually pretty good. Now on to Sharkblade. Sharkblade also got a revamp. It's pretty cool now, especially Shark style. Oh, and there's also a fun glitch you can do with this. So, if we use Tornado Slash, the Z move, we start spinning, and then if we switch to another sword, we just keep spinning. And like, I can do anything. I can like fly around and stuff, use moves, and I'll still keep spinning when I go out of anything. So, it's pretty fun. Let's show the moves again though. Here, we have Tornado Slash and Shark style. This sword is really like good. I mean, it's good when you get it, like when you're at the level that you would be getting this. Katana, this is the first sword available to you in this game. We have one sword style song. I'm just looking down here, and it sends you flying forward. And then Windwalk shoots a projectile forward. Show them again here. Honestly, this is pretty good for a starter weapon. For a starter weapon in a game, this is quite good. Usually starter weapons are not great, but this actually has 2 decent moves. They don't do a lot of damage, but when you first start out, it's pretty nice. Alright, now the Big Mom Blade. This blade was actually pretty good before, but now it sucks. Because it would have like a multi-slash move, but now it doesn't. It just has 2 moves. Infernal does pretty decent damage though, but Huge Blade's pretty trash. This sword got nerfed, in my opinion. It's not very good now. It used to be a lot better, like way better than it is now. Alright, now the final sword, Authentic Mace. This really isn't that good. I mean, it doesn't do enough damage, but it does have 2 moves that are easy to hit. Like in PvP, these are very easy to hit. But it doesn't have a good move for Ken breaking, so you can't really shred Ken with this, like you can with swords that have multi-slash hits. But if you're using Dragon, this does do more damage. It does have a buff if you're using Dragon Fruit, so it could be pretty decent if you're using that. Alright, so that's gonna be all the swords in the game at the moment, minus Christmas Blade. But this is essentially all of it. These are all the attainable swords at the moment. And I think this game is pretty nice when it comes to swords, since there's just so many. Like, just look at this inventory. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 swords. 17 if you're counting Christmas Blade. But that's a lot of swords. Most One Piece games don't have this many swords. So I really liked how this game allows you to sword main, because it is a lot of potential in sword maining while you're grinding up. But once you're maxed out and stuff, you don't really main something, because you can max out sword and fruit. So most builds consist of fruit and sword. That's the best way to run. And then you either want to be using Cyborg or Blackleg. I use Blackleg because it has good mobility moves, which are good for comboing with sword. But Cyborg's definitely good because it has a heal move, and that's very powerful. But I'm using Phoenix, I already have a heal move, so I don't really exactly need Cyborg. And so that's why I use Blackleg. Alright, so that's going to be it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe, make sure to join the Discord in the description below, and peace. See you.